Hello, Desiree. I'm sorry we couldn't talk in person. I miss you. But here I am answering your questions. Um, how did the storyline of My Norwegian Holiday resonate with you personally, especially considering JJ's journey of healing and discovery? Bless. You always ask the best questions. I think that what made the story extra personal to me is that the photo we used in the movie is actually a picture of my grandmother. So when I looked at that picture and I thought about how much JJ just loves her grandma, um, that's something that I very much feel as well. And my grandmother has since passed as well. And I sort of felt like as I was watching the movie, I was like, gosh, I wish she was here to see it. Um, so I felt the movie made me feel very close to my grandmother, as close as JJ was to her grandmother. And it also really resonated with me in that, while some of your family members may no longer be here, there's always more family to find. And, whether they are actually biological family members or just friends that become family, I think that's something really beautiful that the story sort of looks at. And it's something that I would very much like to sort of apply to my own life. What aspects of JJ's character did you find most compelling or challenging to portray throughout the film? I think the character itself wasn't terribly challenging. I felt that she was just very grounded and very real, and it didn't feel like a stretch from who I necessarily am as a person. The challenges in filming, however, were that I get motion sickness. I may have talked about this before because I've shot movies on boats before and I've been sick the whole time. Then this one we had to shoot on a tram. What did they call it? The Bibanen. We had to shoot on the Bibanen, and it was all day. David, who played Henrik, and myself on the train, and the train was just going back and forth and around and back and forth and around. And I was like, I'm gonna be sick. So I put my motion sickness wristbands on that I got during Splash of Love for the filming on the water, and those helped. But that was definitely the hardest day we had on this movie. The connection between JJ and Henrik centers around a troll figurine. How did this symbolic element influence the development of their relationship in the story? My gosh, that's like a question I would have got asked in high school about a book I didn't read. I guess the troll symbolized, it was like a symbol of love, right? Like her grandmother loved and cherished this troll. She always kept it on her nightstand. And the reason she loved it so much, obviously, because it wasn't shiny and perfect and beautiful, it was because it was made by JJ's grandfather, Anders. Look at me remembering all the character names. I'm surprising myself. I did just watch it recently. So I think it symbolizes love. And then, JJ at the end of the film, when she gives it to Anders, she says, I think it's time for my grandmother's troll to come home. It symbolizes love and coming home. And that is, of course, what JJ and Henrik's entire story is about. It's about love, and it's about finding home in places and people that you might not necessarily expect. Exploring family traditions plays a significant role in the film. Which traditions, either from the script or during filming, stood out to you the most? I think the wardrobe, they wear, what was it called again? I forget what it was, but the gorgeous dress that she wears. And they were traditional dresses. And we were very, very lucky that traditional Norwegian people borrowed or lent us those dresses to wear for the film. And that is really what they do. They pass them on from generation to generation. So to have the opportunity to wear something that is so sacred and such a special tradition, the woman that gave them to us, bless her, she cried when I put on the dress because she was just so overwhelmed with how special it was that perhaps this traditional dress was was being given this special moment in a beautiful film about love and family and tradition. JJ's quest for dissertation, inspiration, leads her to Norway. How did this theme of academic pursuit intertwine with her personal journey in the story? Oh my God, these questions. So she was, of course, going there to finish her dissertation, which her professor had basically told her she had to do. And in terms of how that intertwines with the story, like he basically says to her, he's like, how can you write about this if you haven't lived it, if you haven't experienced it? And that's similar to the other movie I did, A Royal in Paradise, which we actually just shot the sequel to, where, Olivia's a writer. And it's basically like, how do you write about all these fantasies to do with love if you haven't really experienced it for yourself? So both of those characters sort of had a similar arc where in order to write about these things, you need to live them first. And I definitely experienced that. I know this wasn't a question about me personally, but I definitely experienced that for myself firsthand, where the older I get, it becomes easier to be an actor. There's just so much more to draw on. You'll do a scene where you're heartbroken. And when I first started acting, these scenes I was doing on the soap opera, I was 19 years old, acting like I was heartbroken over some guy. I'd never been heartbroken before. Now I have. So when I shoot these scenes, it just becomes so much easier to draw on personal experience. And I think that's what these characters were sort of navigating as well. The film explores the concept of destiny and unexpected connections. How did you perceive JJ and Henrik's connection in light of this theme? I am a sucker for fate. I'm a big believer in fate and that everything happens for a reason. I'm actually full disclosure, I just got off a call with my therapist and I was like, why did this happen? Why did I have to go through this? Like, what is the purpose? And while it doesn't make sense at the time, in hindsight, I always go, that's why that happened. And I think it was just so sweet that like the fate of these characters was just that they were meant to find each other. And it was such a, happenstance meet cute, which all these movies are, where they bump into each other at a coffee shop. And then she has the same name as his ex-girlfriend. So she gets to take the ticket. And I think all of life is really like that. If you think about it, it's like every single moment I have ever lived has led me to right here. And not all of them have been good moments, for sure. But they've all led me to this place, talking to you right now, talking to my laptop right now, answering your questions. And I think fate is real. And I think they did a beautiful job of exploring that in the film. Could you share any anecdotes or experiences from behind the scenes that were particularly meaningful or fun during the filming process? So I'm 5'4", relatively standard, if not on the shorter side of the spectrum. The rest of the cast was not. They were all crazy tall. I think David is like over 6'5". The actress named Karen, who played the sister. What was the sister's name? Nora. Not like Nikki and Nora. How could I forget? She was also super tall. So it means that anytime you see me in a tight shot with the other actors, I'm on multiple boxes. And if you look really closely, the shoes I'm wearing in the movie too, they're like a sneaker. They also have a heel that's about this big on them. And even in some of the wide shots, if you couldn't see my feet, it meant that they had made like planks of boxes for me to walk along so that I could fit in the same shot as the other actors. How did the setting of Norway, particularly Bergen, contribute to the overall atmosphere and authenticity of the film? It was so cool because Bergen was excited that we were there. We had a bunch of people just come to sort of talk to David and I, and as well as the producers, and they were thrilled that we were there making this film. And Bergen is such a sweet, safe place that we had set up this whole exterior of like fake snow, a bunch of Christmas trees. We had all these tables with like gift wrapped presents on them, a whole bunch of like lights, everything all set up outside. Bergen is so safe that we were able to leave that setup unattended overnight and knew that nothing bad would happen to it. There's nowhere in the world that you can film like that, from my experience. And it was so cute to just watch these people of Bergen come and stop and just take pictures with the Christmas trees, watch us film for a little bit, and then carry on their way. It was really special. And it also just helped, we're talking so much about Bergen, to actually be there and to be able to be seeing what these characters are seeing rather than have it be done in post was really, really cool. I will also say there was a lot of rain in Bergen. JJ undergoes a transformative journey in the movie. How do you think this experience impacted her, and what did she ultimately discover about herself? I think it sort of goes back to what I answered for one of the first questions, where, JJ says that she's gotten so used to the idea that she's alone. And I think I can even have a tendency to lean that way and be more of a self-recluse or a loner, when really there are so many people around all of us all the time that all they want to do is love us, and you just have to let them in. And that's actually a lesson that I can learn from JJ. I think it's a really, really beautiful lesson. What can you tease about your next projects? Well, I talked about it a little bit. We just shot a sequel to A Royal in Paradise. What's it called? The Royal Proposal. I don't even know if that's been released yet, so maybe that's a secret. I don't know. Just breaking news right here, right now. Yeah, we just shot that, and holy smokes, it was good. I love making those movies. I think getting to explore that royal life of like kings and queens and princes and princesses is just so much fun. And this time it was a Christmas movie, so we added that extra level of magic to it, which just made it so wonderful. And to get to go back and revisit these characters was so cool. I mean, hopefully I'll get to do the same for Nikki and Nora. Fingers crossed. We're heading into a couple more of those next year. Oh, I actually just got like a really shocking offer. Okay, I'll tease this as well, but I don't know if I'm going to accept it, so we'll see. I was offered to do 3 movies in a series on the Hallmark channel. But I don't know if if we'll be able to make it work yet. But when I got that offer, I ran downstairs and I was like, Mom, Dad, you won't believe what and it came totally out of nowhere. So yeah, there's a few exciting things in the old pipeline. Thank you so much. It was so lovely to talk to you. Merry Christmas. I miss you. Goodbye.